Hello and welcome in our 7th video update. First, I would like to apologize that it took us so long to make this one, but we were quite busy developing the game. We were also on the Gamescom where we met a lot of potential business partners and did some interviews. On Gamescom we also met a lot of interesting people, for example Sven Winke, who gave us many very good advices and told us about his experience releasing games independently. Hopefully next year we will be there presenting our game in our own booth or on the booth of some big partner. But now about alpha version. Alpha version is supposed to be released by the end of September if everything goes right. If everything goes wrong, it should be October, beginning of October. And we will be talking about the content of the alpha version in the next video update, which is going to be released sooner than this one, hopefully, the beginning of September. We also are preparing our own merchandise, like t-shirts and some baseball caps with Kingdom Come Deliverance themes. Which takes me to the crowdfunding. I'm very happy because our own crowdfunding campaign is going pretty well. We managed to raise about $120,000 actually. In a few months that we are running it. Of course it's not as big as Kickstarter, but it's doing pretty well. And so very soon you will be able to buy some merchandise like t-shirts on our shop as well. Because we are going to release alpha, we are planning to release a teaser for it as well, and we needed our own music finally. So we started to work with a musician, which is quite great. I like making music, and the best thing is that I think that we managed to get the right person for it. It's a funny story because like several years ago my girlfriend brought me a CD with a symphony which was given to her by a guy she met somewhere. And when I listened to it, it sounded like soundtrack to Indiana Jones, and I loved it. And so I was thinking, okay, if we are ever going to make music for a game again, this is the guy I probably would like to call. And sometimes later I heard one Czech Metallica kind of band with symphonic orchestra, and I loved the symphonic orchestra there. And I was thinking like, yeah, it sounds great, and it sounds familiar. And then I realized it was made by the same guy. So one more reason to call him. And when I finally called him about a month ago, it was quite a surprise for him because he wanted to call me in a few days. So it was foretold, destiny. But we have a big plans for the music. We've raised enough money to rent a symphonic orchestra, and we would like to do something special. I would like the soundtrack to be something like the good old soundtracks from the 80s, like Indiana Jones, basically most of the Williams stuff. We would like to have a little bit Czech influence there, Czech classical music or Czech new wave movies from the 60s. And surprisingly, the best soundtrack that illustrates that it probably would be my favorite, which is William Stromberg's Trinity and Beyond. So expect something like this. So far it seems that we are on the right direction, and you will be able to hear the first results very soon. We also have a community manager, Toby. So if you have any questions, you need help with something, or you want to ask something on the forums, Toby is there to help you. He also takes care about the merchandise we are preparing. We have new offices as well, big brand new offices. And we also bought a motion capture, which is cool. We were looking into how we are going to capture animations. and we found out that it's cheaper now to buy your own motion capture studio than to hire one. The prices went down so much over the last few years that if you bought motion capture 3 years ago, it would be like several times more expensive than today. So we will have in-house motion capture studio. You could saw few first pictures of it on our Facebook. It was really about the same price as 4 days of recording in some studio. So it's going to be great because we could animate anything we would like to. We don't need to plan anything. It's going to be quick and much easier for us. Now to the game itself. We were hard at work and we started to implement first important features. One of them was the biggest, probably the most complicated mini game of which is alchemy. It took us a little bit longer than we expected, so I hope we will get back on track so we don't need to delete some other features. But in the end it looks great. It's basically alchemy as it should be. You can do most of the stuff you would do if you were making potions in the real world. You are doing it with your hands. It's not a text-based minigames, it's really a gameplay. And you can have a first glimpse here. Next on the list is cooking, which will be about the same complicated, and I really hope that it will go faster because we don't want to miss our deadlines. We also went on location doing some research for the next and probably the biggest asset from the game, which is Sázava Monastery. It's really big. It looks like a huge castle. So our artist went there, took a lot of photographs, went underground to the catacombs of the monastery, and right now they are starting to make plans for it, and we will start building it. The most important thing last week was that I and one of our concept artists finished a map of the world. So now we know where everything is going to be placed. Currently the map has about 150 points of interest, and there are going to be even more. So I hope it's not empty as everyone expected in a real world realistic game. Basically, as I said many times before, it's going to be very similar to Red Dead Redemption in terms of density of the locations. Now, thanks to the fact that we know exactly where everything's placed, we can write quests that will take place on some specific locations, and it's much easier for the designers and scripters and artists to prepare the locations as good as it could be. We've also made the world construction kit, I would say, which is a set of prefabs or parts of the buildings from which we are going to make the buildings and the wall itself. Basically, most of the houses and locations in the game are going to be made from this construction set, and only the special locations like Sázava Monastery and some castles are going to be specific, not repeated anywhere else. So basically, the construction set enables us to have hundreds of combinations of buildings. So it's definitely not going to be repetitive or identical too much or anything else. Because we are making a game and we are making a realistic game, our goal is to make everything as close to the real world as possible. But since it's a game, we need to do some compromises, and one of the compromises is the size of the world. So basically, the player and the NPCs needs a little bit more space than in real worlds to be able to move around the world. So we have a problem. We have a real castle. It has very narrow doors, and we need to make them bigger. But if we make the doors bigger, we need to make the whole castle a little bit bigger, because or the corridors a little bit bigger, and then we need to make the castle bigger because the corridors are bigger, so the rooms are smaller. And so we needed to find some way how to go around this. And we have a set sizes of every piece of furniture, doors, windows, and all that. But what we forgot is to set the smallest possible room size in the village buildings. So some of the buildings in the construction set were too small, and now we are making them again, which is something we didn't plan. But hopefully it's not going to take as much time as the first time, because we just need to tweak them, not do them from scratch. But this is probably a problem that no one would expect. Somebody who is not from the industry would probably not understand that we need to solve such things as well. In terms of the map, we also added a lot more space. Originally we planned to have 5 villages, I guess. Now we added one more, and the map is slightly bigger because the graphic artist told me that they can make the areas we originally planned to be just vistas in the background to be accessible. That is not that much extra work, so now the map is about 30% or 20% bigger than it was previously, which is also good. So that would be all things concerning development. And as I mentioned before, the next video update is going to be released sooner because we were late with this one, and I believe I can say that you are going to see something really special in it. So see you in September.